And after that really long intro for his song, it's Vagabond Nerds. How y'all doing?
Sean, is this why you don't like Shinedown?
No, it's the singer.
Oh, okay.
Don't like the voice.
All right.
No, fair enough, man.
Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
just a personal taste. But yeah, that's also apparently they have to do really long intros to get anywhere. Because they're not really sure about where they're going. So they're like, well, let me take a minute, knock on a door, walk up to a mic, breathe into it, and then all right, then we'll start this.
So it's like Ray.
Oh, why don't you go get the intros on, and we'll talk about that crap.
Other than that, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm doing well, actually.
What show is this, Jason?
Fantastic.
Welcome to where now?
I said Vagabond Nerds.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, okay, since Ray's going to be a little bitch about this.
Ooh.
Welcome to Vagabond Nerds.
It's a strong PG-13 this morning.
Yeah, we are. How y'all doing? I'm only talking to Sean. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good. Been busy, but it's good. It's good. Things are going well. Things are going real well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Raymond?
Oh, now you want to talk to me?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm being polite.
We're obligated to include you in this. Outside of that, I could really care less. Couldn't care less.
I'll tell you what. Let's just skip to Jansen. Jansen, how you doing today,
How you
bud?
doing, man?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Not too bad, man.
Is
Welcome back.
that a new microphone? Because that thing is sweet.
No, it's all. Zach likes to use this for some reason. I just actually have it for decoration.
Dude, it's nice. I love the old school vibe of it.
Yeah, it's a replica of the Shure.
Yeah, the Shure version.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
this is just the cheap.
Yeah,
natty.
I can tell it's not the full on metal so
Hey,
that looks good. I like that.
Hey, Brian on Facebook, he's all like, "Man, I'm not gonna lie, I dig his voice in the band." So shut up, Sean.
Hey, I'm not saying anybody else can't. It's just a personal preference. Hey, you remember that whole segment we did on bullies and how everybody can do their own thing?
I thought we encouraged it.
No,
you encourage physical
Oh, I
violence.
encourage
you
I
encourage
encourage
physical
physical
violence.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Kat, what's going on? Shout out to Jansen's lady. She's already saying good morning this morning.
Yeah.
Hi.
There you go.
She's mad at me right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Maybe I'm glad she's listening. And
Oh,
y'all can,
oh, no.
y'all-
Oh, no.
Yeah. Y'all might can appreciate this. So, a buddy of mine is moving, and he sold me his Xbox One
Okay.
for like really cheap. Now, I'm kind of behind in times. The last console I have is a Wii.
Jesus,
Right?
dude.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were like so excited. We're like, oh, we're getting this Xbox One. We're gonna play games together. Well, so apparently she told me like 3 weeks ago. She asked me to show her how to do it so she could play while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess I was playing Doom and might have like kind of not heard her, or was like, yeah, maybe later. So as I was leaving today to come to y'all's show, I was like, hey, you mean show you how to do the Xbox One? No, I don't even want to. I don't want to. And I went, why? 3 weeks ago, I asked you to show me, and you didn't. So I don't even.
So
want to now.
now
Well,
it's
just to preferences, she says you're in trouble when you get home. So good luck, my friend.
Well, so anyway, so she doesn't want to play Xbox now.
well,
And I'm like,
at the
that
moment.
is ridiculous. Am I right? I mean, come on.
Ladies, just as a note, it's not that your man isn't going to get around to it. We're going to get around to it when we're ready. We don't need to be nagged every 6 months, okay?
How is it
Oh, we
that
don't need
I'm
to be
the one
nagged,
that's wait,
nagged
how-
every 6
how is
months.
it
No, that was
I'm-
well
yeah,
phrased.
but
Every
how is-
6 months.
How is it that I'm the one divorced?
You really want to go into this?
No, I'd rather not.
That's what I thought.
There you go.
There's a real easy explanation for that one.
All right, well, let's put it this way. Jason, you'll be in trouble with Christy for that comment. And Jansen, good luck, man.
Yeah, dude. Good
Wear
luck.
a cup
all
when
right.
you leave here, but
Good luck, bro.
Nice knowing you. Anyway.
we still love you, Catherine. Let me make it worse for Jansen. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, because Ray would have shown you how to play that video game.
Let's not do that.
No, Ray would have had his servants show you how to play the video
That's a much better point. Yeah.
Again, personal assistance.
Uh-huh.
Oh, good Lord,
I said
man.
servants. It's
It
different.
doesn't matter. Personal assistance.
Personal assistants.
So I do have a bone to pick with Jason.
Uh-oh.
So everybody, yeah, he's going to sit here and gripe. When you're in the car and you start singing to yourself, talking about bad and shitty voices, according to Sean over here with Shinedown, it's no harm, no foul. When you're carpooling and you sound like a moose is being raped by some, well, you know what, it's your liking, by a Bigfoot, that's not singing. That's physical assault to somebody else in the car.
Well, hold on. Carpooling. Do you just mean the two of you by yourselves? Because that's actually not pooling. That's car puddling.
Yeah, we carpuddled. Okay, first off, look at the size of us.
Maybe it is a carpool.
We're not just carpooling. We're
laking.
Yeah, laking. At least carponding at the very minimum. Carponding. Anyway, all that to sit there and say is, I hope you're not singing to other people because it physically hurts. No, I mean just in life. Like when you get around someone, if your song's playing in your head and you start singing out loud, advice, don't.
What do you think Bigfoot really does sound like raping a moose? Like
exactly how he sounds when he's singing. That's what it sounds like.
Well, if you're copping to this, Jason, then I'm sorry, I have no defense for you.
I know my voice sucks. That's not my problem.
Okay, it's not. You're like it's everyone else's problem. Yeah. It's not mine.
So Robert goes, well, how do we know what a raped moose sounds like? Super Troopers.
What song was he singing?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Dude, it was all of them. Like he would start singing like
was it Time After Time by Cindy Lauper?
Can we get an instrumental?
This morning it was
Nixon's.
Sister by Nixon's. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah,
dude.
which is
fine. That's a callback to an era. Yeah.
It's a great song, except when it was like Sister. I mean, it's no. The answer's no. Yeah. Okay, Jason, go ahead. Show us some of your lyrical talents there.
Hold on.
Just don't sing directly into the mic.
Then we'll do this old school.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, good God.
Bring it up a little bit so I can hear this.
Could you?
Well,
I gotta wait for the chorus. I don't even remember half the lyrics.
I don't know. It's not going to make him sound better, Jansen. It's going to make it sound worse.
We still haven't gotten out of the intro.
No,
we haven't.
Go full rock here.
How do you not know what this is?
Yeah, he just doesn't remember the words to the beginning.
I'm calling him on the spot. He doesn't want to sing.
No, I'm going to say.
He said he's going to wait till the chorus. You're not listening. That's the difference.
These our poor viewers, all 6 of you guys. I'm sorry.
Raymond apologizes in advance. I say you ordered this.
This is what I have to go through whenever we car pond.
All right, you ready, Jason?
Here we go.
Go, Jason.
Come on, dude.
I thought we were getting to the chorus, man.
It's a classic 90s tune.
Yeah.
It has to do the verse twice.
I know.
And then the chorus. But we were just checking with you. That was so good, dude. The face and everything. Like, you got ready.
He gets ready to get in there. Don't yell when we get to the chorus. Here comes the chorus.
Here we are, finally.
Okay.
Jeez, it's worse than Shine.
Go.
Sister, I see you.
Oh, dude. Sorry, shut up.
And he's on the stage of memories.
All right, Robert, you hearing me right now, bud? That's what a raped moose sounds like.
Sister, I miss you.
Okay,
gosh,
okay.
Shut up. All right.
I'm just impressed. I'm just impressed that a raped moose knows the lyrics to Sister by the Nixons.
Why wouldn't
That's
it?
impressive.
Oh,
Really?
my
I mean,
that song really did get around. It was a good tune.
It was.
It made,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you Shine Down sounds much better now, doesn't it, Sean?
I really wouldn't compare the two. They're each equally horrible. So, I mean...
It's sort of like comparing Nazism and socialism.
No,
it's all bad.
Everything has its own place. And to me, they have their own place. And I'm just like, not for me. Other people, great, fine. Listen to them. Glad they're doing great. I'm glad. The one thing, dude, their music is great. The guitars, they sound really good.
Lyrics?
I just don't like the lyrics and the singer. It's one of those things.
People are chiming in right.
Nah, not really.
People are chiming in right now, talking about my ears are bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should apologize for that.
Good. Then at least we're really glad you still have your thumbs.
However, I am glad to see you in some type of uniform today.
He always has a uniform.
Yeah, but I don't mean his work uniform shirt with the button down.
But that's his kind of antithesis to our general nerdy shirts that we always wear.
But you're not wearing your hat. So.
I'm not wearing my hat.
I see.
So the universe is off kilter today.
Everything's gone wrong.
Everything's gone. You're singing. The
Dogs
intro,
and cats
living together. Mass hysteria.
Yeah, that's true.
What are we talking about today?
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Speaking of mass hysteria.
And the universe in chaos, as a matter of fact.
So there we go. Are we talking about anything else, or is it just Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then, of course, I think at the end we'll do a little. We do need to talk about the passing of Steve Ditko.
That's right.
A lot of our fans probably don't know who he is. Or if they've even known, if they know his name, they'd probably just have heard.
Or if you've read a comic in the '90s, and you've probably seen his name in the in the credits somewhere.
Well, and for our older audience.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, he has a huge history. I mean, people are like, oh, well, he co-creates.
All right, save it.
All right, whatever. We'll deal with it then.
All right.
So, spoilers for Ant-Man today.
All right,
by the way.
that's right.
We're doing spoilers, so
there
watch
will
out
be
for that.
ants.
There will
Just
be
saying.
ants. That's how you get ants.
Yeah,
right.
and that's how you get ants.
And that's how you get ants.
Okay,
want ants?
did everyone like the movie?
Yeah, I liked it better than the first one.
See, I did too.
How about you?
Raymond?
I agree. It was actually really good.
It was better than the first one.
It was really good. It had a lot of and I've seen some reviews on there where people are like, "Oh man, this is crappy and another bad villain and blah blah blah." And I'm like,
really?
These
This
people like
is one of the best villains that they've had.
Oh, so elaborate.
Well, it's not a villain.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah, elaborate on that. What do you mean? So were people really bashing Ghost? I mean,
Well, yeah, people were bashing Ghost and
the actress or the character itself?
The character. They were talking about, oh, it's another, typical underdeveloped Marvel. It's like, well, look, first off, this was always going to be the first movie after Infinity War.
Right.
It was after the juggernaut that was Black Panther.
Yeah.
Anything following those two movies in Marvel wasn't going to hit the numbers. That's the first
Right.
thing. Although it did phenomenal box office, but it wasn't going to hit those numbers. And two, it was going to have a hard time, regardless, just trying to keep it up. However, having said that, yeah, I know. Giggity.
Well, it's a palate cleanser in a lot of ways.
It is a palate cleanser, and that's why I was like, this movie is a sorbet of Marvel movies because
This is the oyster crackers
this is the
of
oyster
Marvel
cracker
movies.
of movie, because you just sat there, you're like, man, everything else was just so strongly flavored. I just need something to restart.
Yeah.
This was that movie.
I could see that. I
That's
could
what
see
this
that.
felt. But
yeah,
for your comparison, yeah, I loved it, and I do feel this was a step up over the first Ant-Man.
much improved.
Yeah.
I really felt the characters were more fleshed out in a better way this time around. Everything seemed a little bit more believable to me, and it just felt more realistic.
But I think it's because they do what a really good sequel should do: build off of what you already have.
That is true.
That's what they did. They built off of they said, okay, you already know who these characters are. Let's move on and let's develop them a little bit further. And I love the fact that they said, what are the things that worked from the last movie, but let's not overdo it. I think this is like with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I felt like there was something.
They were trying to push it further, and
Right.
it just was trying to be, while trying to push it, it was also trying to be more of itself that they captured from the first one.
Oh, everyone liked Dancing Baby Groot at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Let's open with Dancing Baby Groot.
Right.
Whereas with this one, they're like, okay, everyone loved the giant ants. Or interaction between human and ant.
Yeah.
They liked the family aspect of it. They liked, what is his name? The Hispanic comedian?
Oh, I forget all of a sudden.
I
If you
cannot
had-
remember
Michael
his name.
Pena?
There
Michael
you go.
Pena, thank you.
There you're
Yeah,
I don't remember your name half the time. Shut
this is actually true.
up. Anyway, like everyone loved his, his storytelling.
Dude.
And,
yes, we'll get to
and they
that.
only got, we only get one of that. I mean, it's like they took all those things and said, okay, we're gonna have that there. And it's going to mean something, but we're not going to double down on that. We're going to expand the story, and I think that's why it works so well.
It had more maturity.
It did.
You could tell it was maturing. It's getting better, and
Yeah.
it was a better movie.
It did, and everything that worked great in the first one, what they said is instead of trying to reenact, like you're just
Let's
saying
not
just now,
duplicate. Yeah.
we're not going to duplicate it. We're going to touch on it. We're going to sit there and say we're not ashamed of where we came from, but we're going to go ahead and take this somewhere more. And they did. They did. I loved it. I thought everything, even normally when a child ruins a storyline by being cast in there, because there's some movies that like, hey, this has got a child, and all of a sudden, it's
if the kid actor's not up to snuff,
she
or
was even really great in this movie. I mean,
I think she was a cornerstone. Actually,
Oh, absolutely.
she was very good.
her and just her interaction with Paul Rudd.
Yeah, they did such a
They
great
had
job.
great chemistry,
Yeah.
and you almost like there's a part of it where it's like, yeah, that could actually be your child. That is something your child would do.
World's best grandma.
Yeah,
World's greatest grandma.
World's greatest grandma.
Yeah. Okay, was there a part that you didn't like?
That's a good question. Come back to me on that. I don't know.
Raymond?
The first end credit scene, and I'll tell you why.
All right.
Because it had been because Infinity War was what it was, and it ended on just such a hey, we're this close to slitting wrist. I didn't want to be reminded of it, and was an hour and 50 minutes of
54, yeah. It's almost 2 hours.
Of not being reminded about
Yeah.
that. And it was fun and it was upbeat. And then for that end credit scene to tie, and you knew they had to do it. You knew in some form or fashion they were going to have to tie back into Infinity War.
Yeah.
And just to see how it ended, it was like, oh, freaking reality.
I was sitting with my buddy Nathan, and I looked at him. I was like, "It's like Marvel slapped me twice."
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the first one was a backhand, and as I turned around, they came back with the front and just hit me again. They were like, "Pop!" I'm like, "Don't you remember what I told you?" And that's what that was. It was so just we were like. Oh, like
it's
again,
exactly
you know?
Because I'm sitting there, like, we're feeling good. You know, the little girls beside me, even the boys enjoying the movie.
Yeah. So for the people who haven't seen it and don't care about spoilers, but you know,
yeah. So
they what? Not Pym.
Scott
goes back into the quantum realm, right? The quantum verse again, and then he's in there collecting some
healing
quantum energy, right?
For ghosts.
For ghosts, because they save her and everything. So, and then as he's getting ready to come back out, because they figured out how to pull him back out with, you know, and all of a sudden the line goes dead that he can hear through his suit and feed, and they cut back to the real world.
And it's all freaking Ash.
Everybody is Ash, and they're floating down. So everyone who's there to save him is Ash, which also makes me wonder what's going to happen with Ant-Man going into the next Avengers. So
here it goes, and this is the thing that's floating around, and even
the rumor.
No, it's not even a rumor.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Feige has even said this.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very important line by Janet. Who was played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Who
Yes.
did a brilliant job.
Oh,
on
dude.
this.
yeah.
Not to mention they found an older actress who has about the same mouth that Evangeline Lilly do. It's the same. I was like,
awesome, dude.
You two actually could be mother and daughter. They did a good job
Whoever
matching
the
that
casting
up.
director is for this is brilliant.
Because acting was spot on, and they get kind of a little bit of a look of the person too. I love it when they can do that.
They had said that they had actually wanted to use Michelle Pfeiffer in the first one, which is why they actually cast Evangeline Lilly. They always
so they kind of had it planned up.
They were doing that.
But anyways, I digress. So her line.
So her line about "Be careful, Scott," because you don't want to get stuck in the quantum, the time.
You don't want to get stuck in the quantum realm.
More importantly, though, the what did they call it?
The black hole. There's like a
time something. Yeah,
time something. It was the time quantum fields or whatever, because those can pull you through.
Yeah,
that's going to tie into Infinity, whatever sequel to Infinity War we get, because it's Scott apparently will be playing a huge portion of this. And I kept thinking to myself, well, obviously, we've got other characters that are coming through, but we're all pretty much sure and set that it's going to involve time travel of some type.
That's the only thing that can help.
Yeah,
you know?
And it looks like it started here.
It's starting at the end of Ant-Man. Yeah.
But again, it's a sucky scene because, like you said, it's like getting.
See, I loved it.
You know.
But I'm the guy who wanted.
I do, but it's like getting dick punched.
Well, no, but I didn't have the. I was jammed because I'm like, this is like the old school. What happens next? You know, kind of a thing where it's like, okay, he's put in a really bad situation.
How is he going to get out of it?
How does he get out of it? Like it's
a cliffhanger,
right? Again, maybe it's probably me because I'm
not the Sylvester Stallone movie.
Exactly. Yeah,
hey, it's a classic. Don't say it was bad.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it wasn't.
Jason was about to. I could feel it coming.
I never said bad.
Your intuition's usually off about things that either he or I say. Well, maybe not with him, but
anyway. No, I loved it. I thought it was.
Problem is, you don't think like a poor person.
This is
you
true.
need to think like us, and that'll get you more on our level.
Yeah.
Why?
Why do you think he has the servant monkeys to begin with? Anyway,
I'm sorry, personal assistant monkeys.
Okay. Anyway, I never saw the snap as being emotionally impactful for me in the first movie. Anyway,
I understand because we know everyone's coming back.
Right. Well, they're coming back, and again, I think all of my emotional energy was spent with Gamora and Thanos.
Okay, no, but let's not talk about it.
I know. I'm just saying. I think that's why the snap doesn't really, for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. So to see them turning to Ash wasn't like,
for me, it was though because they
just got his mom back. They just got the mom back.
Just
got her back.
They were all acting like a family.
Yeah,
you know,
and they all went away at the same time. I think it'd be more emotional.
So it's almost like nobody died.
Yeah. It's like everyone disappeared at the same time. So it's like, okay, so they all went together. You know, I mean, it'd been one thing if Evangeline Lilly was now all
standing
alone.
there and her dad and her mom were gone. Yeah, that'd be heart-wrenching for her, definitely.
Yeah, which is why I think it's good that they're all three gone so we can all be like, oh, okay, they all went together, you know?
But you know what I did find interesting, and it they had the like they do it, the Avengers will return, or Thanos, like Thanos will return.
The question mark at the
They
end.
put the question mark at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, and there was a moment, and then it was like, it showed up, and you're like, oh, you sons of bitches. That was pretty. That was devious of them to do
really
that.
was.
Yeah,
What
very
was-
devious.
What was your favorite part
My favorite part,
or aspect of the film?
aspect of the film,
Better put that way. That's good.
relationships. The relationships were all much better this time around. Whether it was Scott's relationship with Hope or his relationship with Pym. I mean, everyone had some kind of. They were. Scott was almost repentant in this entire movie. At the very beginning, it was a lot of I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this better. I'm sorry, and so it was fun to see the dynamics of how everyone played off of each other in that aspect because. What you have is he did what he felt was right.
Oh, he did,
which,
yeah.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
was not wrong of him, but to make sure his
Because
family...
you have to pick a side. That's what
Exactly
Civil
right.
War taught us. You got to pick a side.
And
you know?
then to come back and sit there and go, now, having done that,
Here's
I
the
do have to take my consequences because I still want time with my daughter. But to see a father, which I hadn't really seen before in movies that are dedicated, where he's trying to do so much for his daughter, even being in that situation, that he's building just awesome things in that turning his house into a playground.
The entire opening scenes between him and his daughter going through that tunnel that he's decorated like ants because she wants to play like he does with the real ants. You know, and I want to pretend we're small. That whole thing was just fantastic. The cardboard down the stairs. I mean, we did crap like that when we were younger. A friend of mine had an apartment with the 2-level split with the stairs that come down and then go down again. We would coast down that thing on cardboard all the time because we had, it's all right, it's raining outside, let's go play inside. So it harkens back to some times you used to do that as a kid. It was so relatable and it's just great. Yeah, that was good. That's a good scene. It's a good pick.
Sean?
I didn't have a favorite scene specifically, but I really enjoyed the way the effect for Ghost.
Yeah.
The way they did her phasing and the way she moved through stuff, I thought that was fantastic. I mean, I know it's just, you're going to go back and take some other scenes and superimpose and use digitizing and everything to do it, but they really did a good job of making her phasing. I always say believable, but that's kind of what it was. It really looked like a good representation of what I would think her powers were. Right. And it was a great representation of that. And she was just badass. I think I liked, as far as scenes go, the scene with Evangeline Lilly and Walton Goggins when you first meet Walton Goggins, and she brings the bag of money and he's got the power supply or whatever it is. That exchange between the two of them was great, and then the afterwards, her coming in and kicking ass. That was just great. Yeah. That was fantastic. Because that's probably my most favorite of everything.
And it was great. It wasn't, hey, I need this person to come and save me. Ant-Man needs to be here to come and save me. It was none of that. It was,
right.
Excuse me for a minute. I got to whoop some ass.
Yeah,
and,
she
this
says,
is what's going to happen now.
I love it. She goes, just give me the thing. It's going to be a lot easier on everybody. And he goes, I'm sorry, darling. The only thing you're leaving here, only thing you're leaving with is my broken heart, and that'll heal in time or whatever. And it's just like, you are just, I love Walton Goggins.
Oh, he's a great villain.
He's been in so many good movies and played so many good roles on TV, and he's been fantastic. So, it was a treat to see him. I didn't know he was in the movie. I just wasn't paying attention.
I didn't realize it either.
And then when I saw him in the credits, I was like, Walton Goggins, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
So, that was it. What about you?
There were so many great aspects of the film. I think to narrow down the thing that got it right, that I loved was the giant ant that they had trained to replace Scott.
Is that you?
Yeah. When Michael Pena walks in.
He walks in. Oh,
Scott, and the ant has the Fruit Loops like.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the fact that we don't get too much of that, right?
No,
this is what I'm talking about. It's like it's a callback to the giant ant from the first movie, and the fact that they have personalities, but we only get it really twice, right? There's when Michael Pena walks in, and then there's at the end when he's playing the drums.
Well, you get it three times. Okay. Because when he's in the bathtub when she first comes home.
Yeah.
Right.
And when all the FBI is coming in. So.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, as far as it doesn't take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the most time it's been is those two, and it's sort of reference. We're like, we've trained an ant to replace you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
no,
what do you do? What do you do in the bathroom for 2 hours?
Yeah, we got your schedule down, and then she goes 2-hour bathroom break, whatever that's all about. And he's like, "Serious? What? Really? Are we really doing this?" Yeah.
He was all like, "What? Can I not just sit there and relax in a tub?"
Right. And I do like the fact I like him waking up, driving away after she's flown in and hit him in the dart with the net, or hit him in the neck with the dart, and he wakes up in the car and he goes, "Oh no, I gotta be back at home." He's like, "I got 2 days. What have you done?" Like that whole, he had the entire thing of I was almost there. Like that whole joke that ran through the whole entire movie. The I'm almost there.
With who was that? Randall Park, who played Jimmy,
the new
Jimmy
husband.
Woo?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
The FBI
agent.
Oh, okay, the FBI.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to? Are you asking me out? He's like,
Are you asking me out?
Do you want to go to dinner? He's like, because I'm free. Never mind.
See, I learned up close magic.
He's like, come on, look at it.
He's like, it's been 2 years.
How did you do that?
How'd you do that? Yeah. I liked him. At first, I was like, okay, he's the goofy, but I'm like, I kind of like the fact that he was just sort of honest. Like, he's just a good guy.
He was. He was just an honest character. Yeah.
And I like that. You know, he wasn't a bad guy. He's just
no.
There was a corrupt FBI agent, but then he was just he was a good guy.
He's the mid-level management, and he needs a win.
Yeah,
and that's all he was looking for. He's like, "Don't worry, we just caught them over here. We really needed this.
Yeah,
sorry I doubted you, buddy." You know, and then he leaves.
You know what it reminded me of? It's Ant-Man's Coulson.
Yes,
it's his agent Coulson.
A goofier Coulson.
Yeah,
but definitely a Coulson.
Yeah,
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that makes plenty of sense.
But. And again, the supporting cast of this movie was genius. So you talk about the leads. You talk about Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly,
Mike Douglas,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Which she's a lead, but she's not really in it for very long.
No, she's not.
She's just right there at the end. But
I think technically Paul Rudd gets more time as Michelle Pfeiffer than Michelle Pfeiffer does.
That's actually a good point.
And that was really fun. That was funny as hell to see him act, and they were all kind of like standing back stunned as he like reaches over and like caresses, Michael Douglas. He goes, and he even kind of is like,
"Hope."
Oh. Like he feels better because he's like, that's just how my he goes, that's just how my wife would have done it.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
And that's and to see Hope realize it first. Where she's like, "Mom," and she's all like, "It's okay, Jelly Bean." and that's when she realizes, she goes, "It's holy me, Jelly crap, Bean." That is Mom, you know.
Yeah. I would guarantee that what they did was they had Michelle Pfeiffer act out that scene first.
Oh yeah, and they just had Paul Rudd watch it, and
then
he
came
went
back
for
and
it.
completely. But I mean, he nailed it. Like
he did.
I believe that was Michelle Pfeiffer in Paul Rudd's body.
It was a good job. Yeah, it was really funny.
But her look when they finally get to her in the room, I love the fact that she looks like it's still her costume, but she looks like a freaking nomad.
Right.
Yeah, you can tell she's like had to adapt and kind of live there, which I'm more interested and amazed that she survived sane-wise, that she was sane, because Michael Douglas was in there Pym, I should say, Hank Pym was in the realm for just a short amount of time when he was trying to meet her,
starting to lose it.
And he was already starting to lose it. I mean, fast.
But that's what she also said, though, and even Scott said the same thing. He was like, "Your mind's the first thing to go."
Yeah.
So to sit there, I would imagine that part 3, I would love to have them include her character in it and just talking about what happened. Is the fact that for a long time I never realized where I was. I never did.
She had to come back to sanity.
She was slowly trying to remember everything it was, because don't forget that with Michael Douglas, he starts when he's in there, he starts remembering. It's not like he forgot who he was. In his mind, he's just in a different place. It wasn't until she came back to get him, because he's just running through like everything he was back when he was younger, and he's in his house and everything else.
Yeah, he was seeing, and he heard his young daughter's voice, but then Hope all of a sudden was grown up, and Scott was there, and he started seeing and hearing everybody.
So it's just how that plays. But I would love to see them expand on that part.
Well, I think that this is one of those things going back to Ant-Man 1 and that scene. There's a reason Ant-Man came out before Doctor Strange. Because remember, he went subatomic, he goes to this point, and they show it in this movie. It's more of like a wall.
Yeah.
That there's the crystal universe where Doctor Strange shunts shunts all their action, and so it doesn't affect the real world. That's kind of where he went.
Yeah, he's you're right. He's going through the different planes. Yeah, that's right.
Of existence. And when in the first one, you see those tests, again, they look like these folding in boxes.
Yeah, like a kaleidoscope.
Exactly. That's the same thing. And And then this time it's more of a wall that he breaks. And that's where she is.
Which I would love to see how we could integrate that crap to include all your Fox heroes when that cell goes through, and just sitting there saying, everything happened. It's just a different universe.
Right.
And now we are the same universe, or they've been ported over. Because I think that would be a great thing. Because Michelle Pfeiffer's movements and directions for when she gets back into the real world, very, very Professor Xavier-like.
Yeah.
Going and touching the minds, healing people. I mean, there was some really...
That's a stretch, but I hear you.
But you could utilize it.
I know what you're saying.
What you're saying. And during the movie, I'm like, this is just awesome by itself. But I'm saying you could possibly bring that in. I think what they'll do is they'll try to make it all new. You know, they'll just start introducing it. But I would love to see them pay a little bit of respect to that.
I don't think... I'm kind of the opposite view. I think paying respect to the original franchises and the pieces they've made would be to maybe just leave it alone and bring in the new ones, because it, especially if we're talking about First Class and that series, they've done a good job with First Class. I really do think that all of them, that's much better than the first 3 X-Men ever were, or 4.
Of course.
4, 5,
4.
Is
3.
Well, there was 3, and then there was Origins.
4.
Right.
So 4 technically, but that was only really Wolverine because they were like, let's keep milking this cow till she's dust. And I was kind of...
And 9 rows later.
Yeah, right.
So, but anyway, I mean, going back to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
It is, but I mean, just her interactions with everyone. And
The
like
Microverse.
Said,
I mean, there's so much there.
Yeah.
Like you said, she looked like a nomad. Well, she's been interacting with people and ostensibly these creatures that she hasn't told us about yet.
Yeah.
That exist in the Microverse. That's the whole thing. That's a whole universe unto itself.
Oh, yeah.
With characters and...
So, and is this more or less why you're saying you'd like to hear more about it? Because I didn't even... I probably missed her. I didn't catch on to the fact that there's other organisms or things living in that universe besides herself.
They've hinted at it with this, and it's obviously talking... Now this is where comic book nerd knowledge comes in.
Of course.
So we know that there are other beings that are in that universe.
That quantum universe.
So that's why I would love to kind of have that touched on. Even if you do like a 5-minute prologue in the next Ant-Man and the Wasp ? Movie, I would love to see them talk about it because it was really great. And, have this play out. What was she doing? And just, year 1, then year 5, and then year 10, whatever. Just briefly touch on it.
Maybe set it up like minor flashbacks throughout the film in a way that Arrow does it when they're doing their whole thing. They kind of every once in a while cut back to something that's going on, and then they bring it back to the present day again.
Perhaps she's suffering a little bit of PTSD.
There you go. That could be. And that's what I'm thinking. I was really surprised at I was so surprised at how balanced she was when she showed up. I mean, 30 years, right? She was in there for 30 years. And all of a sudden, she sees her husband who's still alive, who comes and rescues her. And I'm sure that was probably the appropriate reaction to have. Yeah. To be, overcome with love and adoration. And so, at the same time, she didn't hit him or slap him or anything. And like a little bit of me was like,
30 years, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
30 years.
A little bit of me was like, it could happen that way though too. So, but it didn't. And she was a very balanced person. And a lot of time when people are isolated like that, well, not a lot of the time, when people are isolated like that, they can go bonkers.
Is that why you sing the way you do? You know what? Never mind. Anyway.
Poor, bad attempt, sir. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Speaking of Ghost, because, people said that she was an underdeveloped villain.
Yeah, let's...
The two things... First of all, you mentioned how they demonstrated her phasing powers. Mm-hmm. What I liked is I was watching... I forget what it's called. It's part of the Nerdist thing, but it's
like an after...
science thing. It's a dude with the long hair, and he talks about the science of science fiction and fantasy and all that.
Yeah.
He was sort of describing how... it's a weird thing in quantum physics with the light. Like, and basically, it's a broader concept and principle that they use for that, where light's coming in, bouncing off this, and I'm seeing it, right? Mm-hmm. And you'd say, well, how does the light travel from there to here to my eye? Mm-hmm. And we'd say, okay, well, it just comes in, bounces off, and hits my eye. Mm-hmm. Quantum physics actually says that light, because it's both a particle and a wave, is actually traveling an infinite number of ways to get through my eye, even going back in time.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But by the time it hits my eye, and we'll call all those different world lines, right? Every one of those disappear, and it's only as if it had just done what we
one line that we see.
The one line that we see, and that we assume it is. But it's actually traveled all those different ways.
And we just don't see them. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
And so what they're saying, the way they did her phasing is every atom in our body basically does the same thing, right? It's all one collection in our body. We do things. What they're saying for her is essentially she's able to turn on all of those different world lines
at the same
time.
So
she's literally nowhere and
everywhere. Yeah.
At the same time in different dimensions at different times, because it's all the possible ways all those atoms could get from there to there, which is how she phases through. And it's so the fact that you see her just sort of like almost like bouncing around.
Well, and her hand would be in front of itself to where her real materialized hand was then going to be, at the same time being behind her and like
where it was
everywhere. So that, like you said, everywhere at the same time. But as far as people being upset with her being an underdeveloped, I thought she was, not to say stereotypical, but she was another stereotypical Marvel villain in the fact that it's confliction. Right? Yeah. She went through a horrible experience. She lost her mom. She lost her dad. She was the only one to survive. And then
gets taken over by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, not only that, no, to touch on her survivability, when she did survive, she was, mutated, and no one can touch her. No one can comfort her. No one can do anything. She is, alone because her parents are gone, but now she is actually utterly alone.
Isolated.
She has nothing. I'm amazed she could stand on the ground.
Yeah.
Which is why I loved Bill Foster, Lawrence Fishburne coming in to play her surrogate dad.
Yes,
basically.
Yes.
And the fact that even at the end, he was not going to leave her. And I appreciated the emotion that I think it was Hannah Johansson or something like that played.
Yeah, it was hyphenated John something. Yeah, her last name was John hyphen something. I can't remember.
But just seeing her literally, like when she realizes he's not going to leave her, and she just hugs him, and for the first time you could tell, oh my gosh, it's tangible. I can hold him, and just that he wasn't going to go. I thought that was really cool.
And that she's no longer in pain. You know, like she said, it hurts all the time because she's constantly being ripped apart and sewn together.
Yeah. And to that point, that's also why I liked Janet, where she's like, no, we're going to continue to help her because she's just going to continuously need the particles from the quantum realm to continue to stabilize her. And just the fact that they haven't turned her back on her. And even Bill made the comment where she was like, well, I'll just go get the child. And he's like, no, that's the line you're not going to cross.
Yeah, he's like, there's things I've seen. I know you've done things, but I won't help you do that.
That's the line.
He gave her the meatloaf.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing that I like is she's not really a villain.
There's a lot of things I do, but I won't do that.
Yeah. Well, she's not really a villain. In many ways, she's doing the same thing they are.
She's doing the same thing Thanos did. It's
no, it's not even Thanos. Go back to.
Well, yeah, I know you're right.
Yeah,
I just mean with the confliction. She has a goal that is admirable in itself, but you're going about it the wrong way.
Exactly.
You're getting there the wrong way.
And yet at the same time, isn't that what happened in the first Ant-Man movie? They were trying to prevent the sale of Yellow Jacket to terrorists, essentially.
Right, and so what he did was, let me get a thief to steal it, when really you should try to figure out a way to disprove its wholesomeness.
Or turn it over to S.H.I.E.L.D. and say, hey, S.H.I.E.L.D., this shit's about to go down. We need this to end right.
But Pym
and he destroys property.
But he spent his life trying to get away from S.H.I.E.L.D. based on the fact that,
he knows how corrupt they are.
Again, which puts us right back with Ghost. What was Ghost? S.H.I.E.L.D. turned her into an assassin.
Yeah.
So it goes back to she
yes.
So she's literally doing this. And again, what were they doing? They were stealing and buying off the black market technology to build this thing to go save Janet.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing.
They're doing the exact same thing.
Everybody's going about it the wrong way.
So I love this because they always talk about Sonny, Birch, who was his buyer, because he keeps talking about his buyer.
Yeah, he is a buyer.
The writer of Ant-Man and the Wasp has come out and said the buyer is Norman Osborn of Spider-Man, Green Goblin. That's who the buyer is. So they're trying to slowly introduce Norman's role into this universe,
which means he's going to have the role he had in right after Civil War.
Yeah.
In the comics, in the comics, where he takes over S.H.I.E.L.D., turns into Hammer, and basically runs
Yeah.
You know, he has the Dark Avengers and everything.
Yeah,
So
Gotcha.
He's going to be the it sounds like they're going to try and make him the next big bad until Doctor Doom can show up.
Which would be fine with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And how they do that, you know. So it will be interesting to see how that's going to play out. But I thought that was kind of a neat.
Yeah, because in the comics he was actually the Iron Patriot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All
right.
And when Iron, you know, because right after Civil War, no, it was the Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion.
It was Secret Invasion. The Skrulls had taken over, basically.
Yeah.
So he takes over, and he actually he takes Iron Man's armor and becomes
Does the Iron Patriot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And for a little bit, it's kind of sane.
Yeah.
A little sane. Not too much.
Not
but
crazy.
Well, he had Gargan as Venom eating Skrulls, and he took a bite out of Steel Spider's arm.
Yeah. All that to say is, I think we're about to slowly start seeing the introduction of Norman Osborn, not in a fashion that we've seen done before from Sony, for instance.
So what you mean is correct?
Yeah, the right version.
The right version?
Yeah. Supporting cast in this movie was genius. You had again. So we talked about Michael Pena.
Michael Pena.
Yeah.
His role in this particular one, where he's going, use the Hot Wheels case, and he opens up. He's like, oh, and he pulls out like this
Mr. Pym.
Yeah. He's like, dude, yeah, and he pulls out the Honda.
Yeah.
No, it's Hyundai.
Hyundai. Was it?
Hyundai, whatever. Your car.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pulls.
Actually, not anymore.
Not anymore. That's true. He pulls this thing out, and I was just like, dude, this thing is it's all pimped out. It's got the flames. It's lower, and then he goes along and uses it in races. Which, how is everybody a world class driver? I'm just curious about that. Like everybody seems to be able to drift and jump.
But with him, though, they explained in the first one, just with all the hits they would do, that crew, they always knew how to drive.
Okay.
So that was a callback to the first movie.
Yeah, they were criminals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so to a point. It's like them having.
He's the wheelman.
Yeah.
He's the wheelman. All right. But going down the hills in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
And when he's in the micro car and he jumps it and he's doing the and then they show the tiny little thing just coming over and the big bumper behind it. Like I laughed so much in the movie. It was really good. It was really, really funny. And his monologue when they gave him the truth serum, where they kept saying it's not truth serum.
Which I love the callback to
at the end.
It is truth serum.
Yeah, the torturer guy with that was great. So Walton Goggins asks him the question, where is he? He's like, okay, well, man, let me tell you. And he starts going on.
Like, so he's talking about, being with Hope, and they love each other.
He wants to be,
but they messed it up, because he messed it up because he went to go save,
And she's like, I love you, man, so much. And he's like, I want to be with you, but I got to go save. And
can you skip to the point?
and he goes, no, man, you dropped that. You put the dime in the machine. You got to hear the whole verse.
You got to let the record play.
You got to let the record play, man. That and the fact that when they're doing the scenes, everybody is talking
like him
so fast, and they're even like moving like he would have. Everybody. When they had Evangeline Lilly do it, I was done. I was laughing. I was like, "That's it." And she's like, "Da da da," and she has the phone down. I was like, "Oh, this is great."
You could tell this cast loves each other.
They probably had a lot of fun.
They just this is one of the more. I mean, Guardians is a good humor movie and it's a good comedy, but the Ant-Man series has seriously become their comedic 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot more comedy in this than there is in either of the Guardians.
And then you have his two sidekicks, Dave and Kurt.
And he's doing the Bubble Yaga. And he's playing, and I was like, and the guy.
I kept thinking John Wick. That's all I kept thinking in my head.
And the guy next to me, he's going, like, are they bringing John Wick in? I'm like, dude, shut up. That's not how this works, dude.
Not what he's talking
That's not what he's talking about.
No, Baba Yaga is an actual Russian.
It's an actual Russian boogeyman.
It's just, that's, was given to John Wick as well, but that was funny.
And when Ghost shows up and she's like, where is it? And they're like, and scares and then he starts, he starts singing the children's song to himself, and he's like, looks at him like, what the hell are you doing?
T.I.'s looking at him like, really?
Yeah. T.I.'s like, man, Yeah, that was good. Yeah, those two guys were great. Everybody had a great role, and you're right. The supporting cast was just as influential and important as the main characters were. They all did very well. There was no moment. There was no moment in this movie where I thought I was bored or I was waiting for it to get faster.
No. Nothing was superfluous.
My buddy said it perfectly. He was like, "Dude, the pacing was really
Spot
good."
on.
Yeah. He said
on.
the pacing was so good.
There was no dead time.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
Everything worked. There was no scene that you were like, well, I could have done without that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I agree with that.
Nothing needed to be cut out. So whoever edited it
was genius.
Good on you.
Genius.
Right. Good
well
on
done.
you.
So good job, Peyton Reed, because you are really. Part of me still wants to kind of see what the original director who did the short film for it to kind of show that Ant-Man could exist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of the director from Shaun of the Dead.
Not everybody. Not a director from Shaun of the Dead. I thought that was the same.
It was the director from Shaun of the Dead who actually first was like, "Hey, we can make Ant-Man work." Brought it to Marvel.
Oh, I for some reason I thought
I thought
what's his face? I thought the two of them. I thought he was the director, but I guess he wasn't the director.
Peyton Reed's taken over. And who would have thought the guy from Bring It On?
Oh yeah,
who directed that?
Dude, you got to start somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like we were talking about that the toys that made us.
Yeah,
the guys he's like, all right, I'll write for it because nobody wants to write for for cartoons or whatever. They're like, no one wants to do children's toys. That's where you go to die. And he's like, I'll write it. Transformers.
Hammer.
Yeah, Hammer. And then he comes out and he's a big. It makes a huge success.
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. Thank you.
Okay.
Who is genius in his own?
Oh yeah,
is genius in his own right.
Okay.
I see what you did there.
All right.
But no, I mean all of his stuff, especially with Simon Pegg, is genius. And to see that's I still kind of would want to see that, but Peyton Reed has given us such.
He's nailed it.
Just a perfect interpretation.
Did this iteration? Did number 2 have the same team? 2-man team of writers with Paul Rudd.
Everyone came back
to write this version as well.
Everyone came back to do the writing
because it still retained the same feel.
Yep.
That's another thing is they really still did have that same feel from the first one. So
I don't want to see this cast change. Like I love everyone with it. I believe Bill Foster's coming back. I believe Ghost.
Yeah. I would love to see more. I would love to see more of her. She was good.
They've said that they've got plans for her, and I don't think it's just in the Ant-Man universe. I think they're going to utilize her.
That'd be great. That'd be great. I mean,
she'd be a great hero.
The concept alone of having the hitman. The hit woman, right? I mean, this badass hit woman. She's where she can phase in and out of things and do. This is like the ultimate cool Splinter Cell fantasy, and her costume was great. I mean, it just looked like something out of a video game. It looked like, I was like, I want to play that character. It looks so good. So, I'd love to see more of that.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Secret Avengers or like a Black Ops team where it's like led by Nick Fury, and then it's all these sort of.
We've already seen Suicide Squad.
No, I mean done well. But no, again, led by Nick Fury, and then just have a group of.
Can we ever do a Marvel show without picking on DC?
No.
Okay.
We can't even do a show about DC without picking on DC.
I've said several times. I've seen it. I own that movie, and I like it. I like Suicide Squad. It gets better the more you watch it.
Oh, I know. I tried to watch it this weekend.
We'll do a quick sidebar.
I tried to watch it this weekend.
I got busy.
So I'm showing Zoe. We're going back and watching. Batman Begins, basically the Dark Knight trilogy. She hasn't seen it, so she's watching it, and she goes especially at the end of the Dark Knight. She's like, "Dad," and I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "What happened to DC?" She goes, "The formula's right here."
Yeah, it was.
What happened?
Christopher Nolan left,
and I was like, "I got nothing for you, sweetie." She goes, "It's not that I don't like the other one." She goes, "But." My God, this is great. And I'm like, I know, baby girl. So, anyway.
Too many irons in the fire.
Yeah, actually, that DC is a victim of producers, overproducing.
They're doing what Jerry Jones does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason, for those of us who don't know who Jerry Jones is, he owns the Cowboys. Okay,
I know who Jerry Jones is.
I know you don't like sports.
Hey,
I could live on Mars and still know who Jerry Jones is.
I'm not a very big fan of football either. I mean, once again,
but you know,
but I know who Jerry Jones.
But you also know that it's played with a football and not a hockey stick.
Well,
lying sack of crap.
It's played with a pigskin, but that's neither here nor there.
Whatever.
That ball never touches your foot unless you're the kicker, and then you're the worst player on the team. So that's why this guy can only kick the ball. Let him kick the ball.
Hey, well,
that's a lot of
first off, in the
unnecessary hatred for the kicker.
First off, in
What-
retrospect,
what
for
are
the
we gonna
Dallas
do?
Cowboys for the past few years,
He's actually been the only
kicker's
one making
been
points.
The best points.
He's
Okay,
the
so
only guy making points.
Leave him alone.
What are we gonna do with Roger? Just let him kick the ball. He's not running this thing down the field.
Yeah, except for us, where we're like, we got to sign him for the next 5 years.
He's got the constitution of a tissue. If anyone hits him, he's going to be in half. We can't have him do this.
No, that's why I love our kicker. Like a couple years ago, where they were chasing down someone who was returning a punt, he absolutely leveled the guy and then stood over him like not
what?
Bad, not bad for a kicker, huh? Chump, huh? You know?
Did you see him do the little?
Yeah. He was like,
Stay down.
you ain't got nothing on
Say
me.
what again?
Yeah,
I dare you. I double dare you.
Say a kicker can't hit.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so to recap, I think we all enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
Go see it. It's definitely worth seeing in the
It's worth it.
theater.
It's worth it.
You know,
Yeah.
I liked it.
I liked it.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that just blew my mind with this movie.
I am still amazed that, like you touched on earlier, that Ant-Man can be a current day Marvel superhero.
Yeah.
And there's now I know you got to still suspend some disbelief. You got to suspend your disbelief to go on this, but my wife and I were talking about this because she doesn't like the character at all because she just goes, it's ants, it's stupid, and I'm like, I get it. I'm like, I totally get it because initially I thought it's ants, it's stupid because I've never been a fan of Ant-Man.
Right.
Really.
I think when this one came out and with Guardians, I literally said, I was like, oh, this is going to be the first two Marvel misfires.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's
When
what I thought.
it was coming out, I was like, this is not going to go well. Ant-Man is not going to go well. And then when I saw it, I was like, you know what? They did a good job. I'm still not, super amped about his powers in general, but it's more believable at least. They portray it well. It's portrayed very well. And that's what I'm happy with, is they portrayed it well.
How big did you get? 24 feet.
Yeah, it's like not bad.
65.
Not bad.
Yeah.
65.
Slept for 3 days.
Yeah, when you guys, that was great.
Which I loved
Yeah.
that they touch on. If you're going to be that big,
You're expending all your energy.
your energy's done. The fact that he was like, I'm just going to take a nap now. In the
falls
freaking,
down in the
yeah.
San Francisco Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to take a nap.
And she goes in after him to
Yeah.
get his to get him up again. That was good.
Which makes, again, that all makes perfect sense. And again, I love that the first movie even sort of explains, like, look, his powers aren't just about controlling ants or getting small or big. They are literally messing with the fundamental forces
Of physics.
of physics.
Yeah.
Of his own physics too,
Yeah.
and his own energy. He has to. He can't sustain those things for long. He can't be that big for long.
Right.
That's how it is.
But the entire reason why why Pym kept all that technology to himself, he's like, no one can have this.
Yeah.
Like this is monumentally bad. It's not just, hey, I can get so small you can't see me coming. It's you could destroy the universe with this.
Yeah. So in the wrong hands,
This is
done.
This is the most, like, he's theoretically the most dangerous of all the superheroes.
Who, Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, so apparently the magical Pym particles allow him to not create a black hole when he gets small. But if you were
his
to get,
regulator.
yeah, his regulator. But that's the whole thing is with that technology, if you could take something the size of a human and reduce him down just by collapsing the space between the molecules, if you could do that, you'd create a black hole.
Speaking of the regulator, the fact that his kept malfunctioning through the entire film was great, especially
Work in progress, my ass.
especially when he's a little kid. And he gets
all like,
in. He
"Hey,
climbs,
champ, how's school?"
How's school? And he's like, "Oh yeah, real funny." He goes, "What's the matter? You want to
Juice box?
He says, "You want a string cheese in a juice box?
Do you have those?
Do you
Yeah,
actually
you
have
have
those?" They had good little
Just
one-liners.
comedic
Like
timing,
it was
dude.
perfect. Yeah, it was great.
Do you actually have those?
And seeing him in that small form, and it's actually like Paul Rudd running, and these little baby legs and everything as he's going. And then the kid, the principal or whatever, all right, where's your hall pass? And he's just stopped. He's like, I'm talking to you. And then it takes off. He's like, hey, he's like, whatever.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is such a great attitude for teachers because it's like, I just hate you people. They just don't care. Like, you kids, screw this.
Oh, I just got to climb this. You need some help, Tiger?
You want some help there, Tiger? And she's going, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. And he's like, just. Yeah, that was really funny. It was very funny.
The whole thing is just, it was good.
It was entertaining. It's a family movie. It's not a lot of violence. It's a good movie. It's definitely
the violence is cartoony. You know,
in a way, very much so.
It's
punches and kicks. It's martial arts.
Yeah, it's the stuff that it's like you said. It's what comics should be. Like this is kind of stuff like hold on.
No. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to see Punisher do this, man.
No, I'm
not
not Punisher. I'm just saying this is the kind of stuff I grew up on. It was funny. It was lighthearted. It could be serious. It was good for all ages.
But let's also be honest. I mean, the stuff that we've got now. I mean, we have a plethora of comic book movies,
and that's what comics should be. Is
you using the word plethora,
and in the right context too. I'm really happy about that for you. You've come a long way.
Coming soon.
It's Ray's Dictionary. Yeah.
Oh, it's a sweater.
It's a sweater.
Hey man.
Are gringos falling from the sky? Yes, El Guapo.
Good night, Ned.
Good night. Yeah.
That's a mail plane. How can you tell?
Don't you see its little balls? Yeah. And oddly enough, we left the theater. Nathan and I left the theater, and we ended up talking about Three Amigos for some reason. That is the weirdest thing. I don't know why we were talking, but we had the same conversation. We even did the mail plane thing. I don't know why that happened, but we just started talking about it. It's the strangest thing.
It's just out there.
It's just out there.
Wow. That's weird. All right. Well,
I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Ant-Man, go see
Ant-Man,
it.
go see it.
Go see it. It was really good. I think it's a great chapter. Captain Marvel is the next Marvel movie. You've got a lot to live up to. I think you can do it.
Yeah. I think it'll be a lot more like Captain America.
Yeah. So,
moving on.
Passing of a Titan.
Yes. Steve Ditko.
Steve Ditko passed on the 29th of June. And a couple sad points. When they found him, it was apparently a few days after he had already died.
Yeah.
By himself. Now, renowned recluse too. Recluse, I mean, just he stayed out of the spotlight. Was still working, very much so. But
he didn't want the fame.
He was never about the fame.
Right. Right.
So for those of us who are going, oh, what did Ditko do? Okay, he's only co-created Spider-Man. He was only instrumental in Marvel's development in the first part of it, and even to his dying day, still wanted none of the monetary rights.
Yeah.
Didn't ask for any of that because of a falling out he had. Now, that's always subject to what that falling out was, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But a little bit of background: born in 1927 in November. He actually studied under Jerry Robinson.
Really?
Who was the co-creator for Batman.
Yeah.
Right?
Who also got absolutely
I was about to say, this is an eerily similar story you're having here. Yeah.
And Jerry Robinson, best known, what was his creation outside of Batman if it wasn't with Bob Kane? Yeah, but the Joker, on how he was portrayed, we owe that thanks to Jerry Robinson, and took examples from The Man Who Laughed and everything else. But anyway,
when you say how he was portrayed,
his look, his overall aesthetics, and what we get to the Joker today, that was Jerry Robinson.
Okay,
so
you mean like the purple and the green, and his white, and
the way he looked,
gotcha.
All of it.
Okay, because you said portrayed, and I'm like, okay, so many people have portrayed him, because we've had Jack Nicholson, we've had,
to see Ditko kind of rise up, right? And so when you talk about, where did he start? Well, technically it was Charlton Comics, which was the precursor for Marvel, or one of the precursors for Marvel.
Charlton was a
Atlas,
separate.
I'm sorry, Atlas. Atlas was the
Yeah, Atlas was the precursor, which became Timely, then that became Marvel. So he started with Atlas. I do know he did work for Charlton. Charlton was a separate company that DC would eventually buy up.
Yeah,
due to a lawsuit over Shazam and some characters like that, which is why they have the Blue Beetle in the question now. He started over at Atlas, which became Timely, which became Marvel.
Yep.
Okay.
Continue.
From an artist standpoint, Jason, what does he mean?
Before we get into the characters, I think when you talk about the history of artists in comics, there are three names that stand above that everyone immediately goes to, right? It's Will Eisner, it's Jack Kirby.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Will Eisner, it's Jack Kirby, and then it's Neil Adams. And the problem, and here's the thing.
And for those,
was that everyone?
Hold on.
It was everyone.
For those of us who don't know what each one of those did, tell me who are those guys?
Okay, so Will Eisner is sort of your first generation of comic
And by the way, the brief version, not the
Your normal
Oriental
version.
Express train.
You put the dime in, you sit through the whole record. Anyway, okay.
These
so,
are all very influential.
Oh, I know they are.
These are
I've-
godfathers.
I've heard the names.
Of
I just
comics.
let's tell me what they are.
Okay, so Will Eisner's creative spirit. When he was part of that first generation of comic book creators who were trying to figure out how to even do the medium.
Gotcha.
He was the guy who first figured out, hey, you can actually do the panels in different sizes and shapes that controls the flow of the story. Before him, every comic
Same
was
squares.
Yeah, it was
Just
6 squares. Yeah, it was and you just drew them in the squares. He was the first one to figure out you can time it.
Let's
and
change
tell-
these and make it actually give it a flow.
Right, exactly. And it changes the flow of the story.
Gotcha.
You can control time.
Okay. So spirit and change the way comics are formatted.
Correct.
Today.
Then you jump into I don't even think it's Jack Reacher now. Kirby, Jack Kirby.
Jack
Thank
I
you.
Kirby.
know. And Kirby, to me, he's the more well known of the ones you just
Yeah,
described.
no, and he's the most famous. He's
Yeah.
the one who he grew off of what Will Eisner did and then broke it. People like characters
Sorry,
broke
you
out
said
of
you
panels.
said you said he grew off of what, and I started just thinking about Farnsworth and his from
the growth.
yeah the
He was
growth.
a growth on his back.
I scraped him from the skin. Yeah,
Which
on
is
the
probably
back.
how Stanley felt at some point.
All right. So
Anyway,
so Kirby.
Kirby, and he creates these very dynamic sets, and so he does all that. Then you have Neil Adams who reintroduces sort of artistry back into it.
Okay.
So the thing is, in all this, Steve Ditko gets lost by a lot of people. And the reason for it is Jack Kirby drew gods, right? But Ditko drew humans. You go back.
I
and
see what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
his two most well-known creations are co-create. Well, he co-created Spider-Man.
Co-created, yeah.
He flat out created Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And you look at his run on both those comics. He's drawing people.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is a person wearing a costume.
Yeah.
He's not Superman. He's not, Captain America. He's not.
He's not that big over the top
Yeah.
personality.
Right. And everyone in there is a normal looking sort of a person wearing a costume. And same thing with Doctor Strange. Though his powers were way, way out there. And man, could Ditko draw the crap out of the ethereal plane.
Yeah.
But everyone looked like people.
Yeah.
Right? And he drew humans. That's what he cared about. And so in that, he gets lost because he's not the the melodramatic version that we get out of Jack Kirby. But he cared about the people. And we see that a lot more in modern art where this is a human being drinking coffee in a comic.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
This is a human
yeah,
being doing this.
Yeah. Everyone who wants to relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And beyond that, it's a sense of design. His costumes are quirky and they're weird and they're iconic and you can't get away from them.
Yeah.
We can't get away from what he created in Spider-Man, in Amazing Fantasy 15 or 14.
15.
15. You can't get away from that. Like, it's still the same costume.
I'm right, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
Well, technically,
Yeah.
14 foreshadowed 15.
Okay.
With like the last page, I think
Yeah.
talked about it. So,
But it-
yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Anyway.
I wanted to
the
do
point
that
is,
to you just to piss you
You're
off.
such a rich
Yeah, I know.
douche.
Shut up, dude.
In Doctor Strange, his costume has basically not really changed.
It never has. Yeah, you're right. It's pretty much been a staple.
And,
Yeah.
and then you go on to his other creations. Hawkman and Dove. Hawk and Dove, not Hawkman.
You don't even have to get out of Spider-Man. Look at the visuals that he gave us for Doc Ock, Sandman,
Green
Electro,
Goblin.
Lizard, Green Goblin. I mean, the core Spider-Man villains that we now all see in movies and everything, those are his designs. Those
Yeah.
are his creations.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can't avoid them. I mean, everyone's copied off of them one way or another.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just. He had this weird, quirky sense of how color should work and how the figures should look, and they worked. Again, look at Hawk and Dove, which was very much a political statement at the time. But those costumes haven't changed, and people have tried, and they're going to be in the Teen Titans, and they look exactly like they did
Yeah.
with when he designed them.
Yeah.
The Creeper, one of the weirdest,
Creeper, yeah.
the easily weirdest character. You'll have to look him up.
Okay.
Literally the dude dresses.
I think we've got an image.
Do we have an image?
Do we have an
Creeper?
image of the creeper? Let's. I'd love to see that. So,
So that's the Creeper.
okay.
You might remember.
Oh, I remember him.
from
Yeah.
Batman animated series.
Yeah,
He
that's.
in
I was
one
gonna
of
say the
those.
animated series. I remember him from that. All right.
Yeah, he made an appearance, and
Yeah.
that was him. And he also he co-created Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
That's great.
Which is now starting to get its own little following in press. Marvel's trying to do something with her.
Yeah, you know,
she's been part of the new Warriors, and then she was the Great Lakes Avengers.
I mean,
for years.
if anything can sell, then they're going to sell it. You know,
Yeah.
especially now they're riding high on the hog, man. You better get that stuff out there and see what you can push.
And once you get the talking raccoon out there, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
I love Rocket.
Which is the whole point. It's like comics is, what was it? How it should have ended? How it should have ended.
What, for Infinity War or something?
Honest trailers for Thor Ragnarok. They're like
Honest trailers.
Yeah, they're like if you have this was Thor was created by comic artists high on acid in the 60s. It should look crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, right. With all the colors and all the the
It's
entire
like,
thing. Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok was the first one. It's like no, this is what Jack Kirby drew.
Who came up with Bill?
Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
Simonson.
And why was he instituted again? I forgot.
Because Thor
had died, or he retreated.
No,
or
it was just a story.
Yeah.
It was just a story.
It was just a throwaway story, but everyone loved the character.
Okay, I was just All right. Sorry.
That was it. It was just they had comics to fill, and they weren't, and Marvel was not as editor driven today, like it was today, which is ruining it. Ruining it. You heard me, Quesada. Suck it.
Wow. I don't have a picture for this, and I'm sorry. I wish I should have because I did see it, but I didn't do it. But the scene where Spider-Man in Homecoming, where he's lifting all the buildings collapse around
debris.
him, and he's having that moment of doubt, and he starts to finally, get enough sense to get up and actually pick it up off of him.
Mm-hmm.
That is a straight lift.
That is a straight lift from Ditko. He actually did that.
No pun intended.
Yeah, right? Huh.
Yeah.
But he did that, where he was just going through kind of this thought process, and there's a panel where he lifts it up off of him, and that's a straight homage to
Ditko.
Ditko, you know? So there's a lot of stuff that he's just responsible for.
It sounds like it.
That
Dude.
we don't realize it sometimes. We just don't,
Because he didn't want the fame.
He never was about it.
He was never about the fame. He in many ways, he was where Jack Kirby was the artist who understood how to market. Mm-hmm. Man, Ditko was just the artist.
Right. So
for him, it was about the message.
He needed a Kirby to get his stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. Right,
would you consider him sort of altruistic? Or is that too much? Is that too far?
That's too far.
Okay.
I would say that he...
I don't know.
Well, okay. This is where it gets complicated,
I mean,
right?
I know you don't know what it means, Ray, but you don't have to tell everybody.
Thinking of a finger between 1 and 5, Sean.
You have 5 fingers? What the hell's wrong with you?
Just remember, whenever you point, there's 4 more pointing back at you.
No, they're pointing to his monkey servants.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, assistants.
Personal assistants.
Personal assistants.
Monkey personal assistants. Okay, anyway. I don't know if altruism is what should be.
It's too far. I understand.
It's probably too far.
It's a heavy word for that.
It is. He is very much a devotee of Ayn Rand and objectivism.
Okay.
So we talked about this before we were coming in.
Yeah.
Don't go into the backstory.
I'm not going into the backstory. I'm just like
And wasn't it Ein?
You know what? I don't care. Broad's dead. She can suck it.
Wow.
I don't think her estate's going to look very much.
The thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are
solely
Jason
that of
McLean.
Jason McLean.
Yeah. Anyway, he was very much a devotee of her and of objectivism, and so for him, the highest it's like you get a day's wage for a day's work, and you get either the respect due you because you've earned it, or you don't.
Yeah.
And so by the time he was done with Marvel, and I think this speaks a lot to
Ray. Stop breathing into the mic.
Raymond, these aren't these women that you call in the middle of the night where you just breathe heavily on the phone. Shut up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm awake now. What?
So by 1966, right? He is on.
Wait, we're only up to 1966.
That's where I'm about to leave it.
Had to stick the diamond, didn't you, Sean?
I see how this is going to go.
Okay, so in 1966.
Apparently not, or else you would have shut up by now.
So he's already done all this phenomenal work, right? On Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, he's at the top of his game. He's for the last year, he doesn't even talk to Stan Lee because he's like, I'm not getting the credit I deserve. I'm not getting the money I deserve. And so in 1966, he basically throws his middle finger up to everybody, says, F you, F you, F you, and he walks out and he drops all the rights.
So maybe
everything,
okay.
and he leaves.
I see what you're saying by the split. So it's like he realized that he wasn't getting the accolades he deserved, not necessarily the attention,
Right.
Well, the problem,
but the respect or the accolades that he deserved.
the
for
problem is
what
that
he felt he deserved.
early Marvel creators, everyone's like, oh, and they must be making money now, and
No, they're not
Stan
making
Lee's
shit.
whatever. But when you signed up to work with Marvel, at the
They got
beginning-
all of the rights.
Well,
Yeah,
more
it was work for
importantly,
hire.
it was work for hire. So you could create it, they would acknowledge it, but that's
Yeah.
about as far as they're
That's
going to go.
about yeah. That's about it.
It wasn't until later to when they started paying respect to all those that came before that they said, hey, you know what, we should probably start giving these people the rights. And they did go to Ditko, and they actually told him, especially after all the Spider-Man movies and everything else, here's a truckload of money. And supposedly Ditko was like, yeah, I don't care. No.
He'd already
Yeah.
he'd already been soured
Yeah.
by the whole experience,
Yep.
and so he's like, no, screw
Yeah.
you guys. You're not going to come back now and do this to me. He
Yeah.
still had the prideful in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
it was he wasn't going to do it, and so like here he is writing, at the top of his career, he leaves Marvel and starts self-publishing these little 10-page stories of a character called Mr. A,
Yep.
which is which is his sort of ideal of this objectivist hero. Now he does from that point on. He goes on to work with everybody, and DC lets him create characters
Oh,
like
like-
the Creeper,
I gotcha.
and Hawk and Dove, and because at that point they're like, look, do whatever you want, because they know that he's going to come out with something.
Yeah,
like
because he's already done the
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and the Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, which are really the pinnacles of his work. But they're like, dude, do whatever you want. And
Yeah.
he worked on and off with everybody
Yeah.
for years. He even, again, Squirrel Girl, he went back and worked with Marvel after Stan
It's
Lee
just
was
so
gone.
that's so funny to me. I didn't even know that existed, man.
Yeah.
There's so much I don't know that exists. That's great.
So he goes and creates. So he spends the rest of the next 40 years,
Yeah.
basically just working with everybody on and off as he saw fit on his terms.
Right. He goes. He basically went on to do his dream.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm just gonna wander around and do my thing.
No, and he was still working up until the day he died.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, a couple of years ago, apparently he kept all of his art, like all of it. He had every penciled version or every penciled page, and full ink page that he had of the original Amazing Fantasy 15 with Spider-Man. And he gave that all over and donated it to the Library of Congress. You can actually go and look at
You
those
can
pages.
look at those pages. That's awesome. That's really cool that you can go see that.
Yeah.
That's really, really neat.
So I mean, he recognized it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But people were talking about. There are two really good things I found on YouTube. There's a one documentary called "Looking for Steve Ditko." I think we'll post after the show. That's really good and sort of explain. You can talk. You have all these different people talking about it and
I think-
whatnot.
Looking for Steve. I think they found him
That's a couple days later.
a few days later.
Too soon. Too soon. Again, thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are of Jason McLean only. Golly.
Ray, there is no line.
Oh my
You just gotta-
gosh.
you
You are the typical white person.
Whoa, dude.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Thoughts and opinions are expressed by me as well.
Yeah, I was about to say Weinstein.
Never have, never will. Thanks. No, it's
Was he working on anything currently
he
that we know of
not necessarily for
for
necessarily for
not in this
comics.
world for this particular
I
comic
think
book
he
world.
technically he kind of stepped back right at the turn of the millennium, right? So like 98, I think
Yeah.
he kind of started doing some of his last bits, kind of said, hey, I'm going to step back from comics, period.
Gotcha.
Not to sit there and say that since then he didn't do some other stuff where he would pop up. But it was always, he did have, I think, 2008, Robin Snyder and Ditko got together to release The Avenging Mind, a 32-page essay publication that actually had new artwork from Ditko. So
Okay.
he's here and there, you
Yeah.
know, but he was never. It was never anything like
Like it was,
yeah.
Yeah,
right?
like it was.
Not during the time frame between the 60s through
Gotcha.
the 90s.
Yeah, through the early
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
And
Late 90s.
Yeah, and again, it's one of the things where his style was actually very, very old school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can see a lot of that work going back to the 40s, right? I mean, you can tell he learned from Jerry Robinson. But again, it's his people, like
Mm-hmm.
the emotion that you see on the face. He was about drawing human beings doing things.
Yeah.
Because that's really what objectivism is about. It's about the person, that's about the individual. And that's what he was really digging into.
Gotcha.
Which is why he did everything the way he did. And he was still running that New York studio up until the day he died. Like, it was... So, I mean, he was still out there working and doing stuff, but he was doing it on his own terms.
Right. That's cool. Yeah. Well, sad to go, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he passed with, I don't think any... was never married, had no surviving children when he passed. I love this. One of the quotes from him about... Because he usually turned down interviews. Wouldn't really talk about it, but one of the reasons why was... He said, when I do a job, it's not my personality that I'm offering the readers, but my artwork. It's not what I'm like that counts. It's what I did and how well it was done. I produce a product, a comics art story. Steve Ditko is the brand name. So it's like, hey, what do you want to learn about me for? Like,
he's let me show you. Here's what I do, and and if you like it,
right.
I'm happy. If you don't, that's fine. But here's what I do.
Yeah,
This is my work.
I read one interview. He said, "My work speaks for itself." In the story, like he didn't embellish that. That's it. That's why. So I mean, that's like I said. He was where Jack Kirby was an artist who understood marketing. Ditko is the artist.
Sounds like he's just a bit of a little less personable fella, but other than that, nothing wrong with him.
No, basically, it's just he didn't want the limelight. He didn't want the spotlight.
Well, yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Stan, I think you put it just well. Stan knew how to market. Stan knew how to absolutely brand recognize that and then take advantage of it and max it out. Which is good for Stan. You know, but Steve was never about that life, and that's probably also the rumored fallout between those two. That was part of the problem as well. It's like, know what? This is not who I am. Furthermore, I'm really tired of you kind of taking credit when credit's not given. Which
goes against his principles. Obviously,
has been a rumored Stan Lee trait from time to time. Whether that's true or not, I have no freaking clue.
Well, it's like let's look at all of his close personal friends: Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko. Now Romita Senior and Junior hung around. Yeah. So I mean, there's something there. Maybe they're just maybe what you had was with Ditko and Kirby and Lee were just three large personalities all start clashing.
Yeah. With three different thought processes as well.
Yeah.
Not only it would be one thing if they kind of saw like-mindedness that would go through.
Yeah, but they were obviously at odds with each other for that. Yeah,
exactly. And it's sad, right? When you co-create something with somebody, you hope to have that relationship that's there.
Yeah. Nobody likes when the band breaks up.
Yeah. Thanks, Yoko. But that absolutely, it's sad to see that. But Ditko leaves a legacy that.
A vast legacy from what it sounds like.
I hope the upcoming generations recognize the fact that we don't have what we're having now without him being a part of this. Because that is, man. That is. Like I want I'm happy to say that when I was talking to Zoe when I first found out, I was like, oh my gosh, Steve Ditko died. I mean, immediately she was like, oh my gosh, Ditko died, and I was like, okay, I've done something right. I was like, okay, cool.
I've passed this wisdom along to my. It's safe.
Yeah,
it's safe.
And it was one of those things where I was like, wow, that's kind of sad,
Yeah.
And, I'll feel that way when Lee eventually,
goes.
Passes as well. But just to see these, I say godfathers. I mean, these really are the fathers of comic book. I know when Bob Kane passed, I was a little too young to understand the full meaning of that. But
same thing with Kirby. Like I knew Kirby, and it meant something, but it wasn't. I wasn't like you said. You just weren't old enough to fully grasp what that meant.
Yep. So
it's sad, but unfortunately, this is how life works.
Yeah. So coming to an end on the show, we've learned a lot of unnecessary stuff because that's what we talk about.
That's
all
what we
the time.
talk about. It's always.
And we appreciate that. Next show. I'm thinking that we're going to do some SDCC recap because in 1 week, San Diego Comic-Con hits. It's now more like 4 days or so. I think it starts on Wednesday or Wednesday or Thursday. I think Wednesday, like if you were paying for the premium package that, even I can't afford, you can go in on that day.
Right.
I love how you phrase that.
So shut up.
As if there were such a thing.
That I can't afford. There's lots of things I can't afford.
The reason he's saying he can't afford it was because back when he was poor, he put himself on the list and he couldn't afford it. There's a waiting. Isn't it like 2 years? 2 years, 3 years or something to get on?
Right now. So this is how San Diego works.
Yeah.
It's a lottery.
That's what it was. You submit.
It's a lottery.
Yeah.
And so, but once you are submitted, you no longer have to go through the lottery process.
Right. You're always
You're always.
They'll keep running the lottery, and your name will eventually come up, but it might not come up for years.
Exactly. At least 2, and then you have the ability to continue to reamp. And the other thing is once you're in, you can determine how many tickets you want.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to get in.
What about press? Does press have their thing? How does that work?
Press is limited as well. So
we got to get on that.
I know
man.
we do have to get on that list. So
We're gonna need just a few more viewers
before we can get that.
That is
one
our
going.
goal for for the next 2 years. Is we got to find a way to get into San Diego
Comic-Con
as press.
Yeah.
Jansen, we got to work on that, bud.
Sounds good, man.
That's a field trip if I've ever heard one.
Dude, that's a field trip, all right.
So, but I also like what Dallas does because I think we're, as we're starting to see, first off, cons are happening all over now, where it was just in San Diego.
One of these days I'll go.
But now it's a little bit more accessible, which I'm happy and proud to see. So, like I said, next show looks like we'll be recapping that because we know Aquaman trailer is going to be dropping. We're hearing Shazam's trailer will be dropping.
Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I like Jason Momoa. He's hot.
No, I mean Shazam. Momoa.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know. I still have I'm sorry. I think Teen Titans Go to the movies had it right where they're like, because if Aquaman can have a movie, anyone can have a movie.
Oh yeah, dude.
But if it's done right, man.
Teen Titans and the cartoon that I watched back when I love that, the one that was on Cartoon Network. Yeah. Right. It aired on Cartoon Network.
The original one when they were still trying to. Well, even Teen Titans Go was not bad.
Teen Titans Go was okay, but I liked the art style. I think above all.
Hey, did y'all ever see that episode in the Teen Titans Go where they saw their old self on TV?
Yes, that's why I liked that. Yeah,
well, that's why I like Teen Titans Go is because it's very meta. I mean, they do
listen to you,
and what they will do is
very
they will
meta.
Very meta. But what they will do is it's presented in a child way because obviously they got to do it for
it's for teens and kids, young adults.
But there's so much adult humor in that show
because
where you're like,
well, they also it's good they're not pandering to a lesser and they don't think they're lesser intelligent than we.
Well, the whole show that they did on twerking,
oh my god,
was hysterical because it was like.
Oh my god.
It was just and unfortunately when my child's watching that and he's all like, "Dad, you got a butt? I got a butt." It's like I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what did we do? What did I just miss?" He was like, "No, Teen Titans Go, look." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this episode."
I just like when they made fun of Raven with the whole "That's so Raven" and she was like, "Stop it."
Yeah.
That was great.
That show has so many disturbing aspects to it though. Like the scene where they were where Silky is going trying to find someone to sleep next to. And we get to see the dreams of all the different characters, and he goes to Raven, and she's fighting Trigon, and it's sort of this big thing. She goes, because no one gets to kill, no one kills my friends except me.
Yeah,
and then she's riding on a decimated apocalyptic Earth. And all the rest of the Titans are turned to bones, and she's riding this hell beast, and then it cuts out to the real world, and she's riding her pillow laughing, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah,
dude, you got to stop yelling on these mics, man.
Yeah,
you're killing me.
Sister, I miss you.
Sweet. No.
Standing at two.
Always a good callback. That was perfect.
I guess that's gonna be our ending song for the show today.
That's gotta be the ender.
No, shut up.
So, but before we do fully end, are there any? What's coming up movie wise? Is anything else coming out besides what's being trailered at San Diego? What's the next one?
For comics,
it doesn't matter. What do we watch next?
In general?
What's in general?
I think what I want to watch next that's really on my mind. Well, I'll say the Mission Impossible. The next one looks really good.
Okay.
Tom Cruise being a crazy ass stunt man of his own.
That's fine.
It's
it doesn't
awesome,
matter. Yeah,
but
I
it
you
was
know,
cool.
I don't have to deal with the Tom Cruise crazy.
Yeah.
You just get to see him acting something on, and that's fine.
Oh yeah.
It's getting good reviews.
good.
You've got Skyscraper coming out, which
Actually,
is
it's out.
It's out.
It's out now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's out,
Whatever.
and it's already it's another Dwayne
look,
Johnson. I'm hanging off the side of the building
I
with
can
my
go
big
and
shoulders.
shut my brain off.
He's a beautiful
and-
guy too, by the
really
way.
is.
He's a beautiful man.
Yeah, he never makes anything that's not enjoyable to watch on a Saturday afternoon when there's nothing else on TV.
It's fine. Yes, he does a much better job than Bruckheimer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably the next big one I'm looking forward to is the new Predator movie.
Do you know what I saw? Okay, I saw one of the previews in Ant-Man, which I don't know what set of previews you guys got, but they're doing a live-action Nutcracker
Yeah.
Yes.
that looks a little darker.
Looks trippy, doesn't it?
Dude, I can't wait for that. I mean, look, I grew up on musicals and stuff with my mom, right? Because you'd pop something in the TV and just sit me down in front of it and watch it, and you know, it's something she enjoyed, so it was like you kind of have that bond,
Right, yeah.
But I love Nutcracker's really good. I both Nathan and I look at each other, my buddy, and we're like, I'm really excited to see that. He goes, yeah, me too. And we were like, is it weird they were excited to go to see the Nutcracker? And he's like, no, man, I love that movie. And I was like, this is going to be good.
I was looking at it and I was like, I want to see that in 3D. Because that looks like that's what it wants to be. I was like,
3D.
I don't care, man. God, that's what I want to see. And then what? So you got the Predator.
I can't wait.
Venom's going to be coming out.
Venom is
in October.
Probably my October movie that I'm looking forward to, though, is the new Halloween.
Alita is supposed to be coming out, but I haven't seen anything for it.
Okay,
I
the
had-
trailers have fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
Like I
that's-
kind of hope that movie does because I'm really.
You know what?
I have a lot of trepidation
Let
about
me
it.
talk to Robert Rodriguez and see what's going on.
We need to talk to.
That's my next plan. Is
Yeah,
we're gonna
we
get
need to
him on the
talk to
show.
RR and see what he says about this.
But how are you doing, man? You know
Yeah.
what's going on. That's a wrap for this show.
Oh,
Oh,
Robbie
it's been
Rod.
pushed back to December 21st.
It's going into the December month.
They're probably going to
Yeah.
go back and redo all the CGI on her
Oh,
face.
man, I don't know.
Fix it and leave it alone. Just take it off.
Let it go.
Never.
Let it go.
I don't like that they did that.
Anyway, Jason,
American, what?
You want to talk us out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're good.
it's that time, bud.
Yeah, it's that time.
We'd like to thank Dallas on Air and Jansen for having us.
Jansen, you look sexy today. Good luck at home.
Anyway, all right. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Do join us on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe. We now have a viralstyle.com
We have the
page.
first,
The first shirt's up.
First Jason McLean drawn T-shirt.
Nice.
Yep, that's
Nice.
on there. We'll have some more upcoming, and we'll have some more fun stuff coming with that. So again, like, follow, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, so you can be up to date on all of these things.
Catch us live on DallasOnAir.com when we do the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jansen, they can catch repeats of the show on here.
Yeah, you can go there too.
You can go there too.
Yeah.
In that case. All right. With that.
Email us.
Oh yes, emails at vagabondnerds@gmail.com.
All right.
Until then, we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.